Welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and full disclosure, I did not sleep very well last night, and I haven't had any coffee. I'm going to try to keep my punchiness and my crankiness under control, but oh, wow. We're talking about the May 2023 Power BI desktop update or Fabric desktop update or whatever we're going to call it these days. All right. And yeah, there's a lot to not like about this update. In fact, I think I have to think that it's the worst monthly update that's come out in probably 1 or 2 years. I mean, I'll get into why. But I mean, so basically we have a bunch of useless stuff here that hey, stuff that already existed it was in preview, now is in GA. We have this we've renamed a few things, your Power BI free license is something different now. All that kind of stuff. We renamed this to One Lake Data Hub. Okay, it's this is a nothing burger if you want to say. All right, so then we have more stuff that was in preview is now GA. We got this OneDrive integration, a few other things, and then all the stuff nobody really cares about. But the one thing that caught my eye in this update was measure-driven data labels. And the only reason I remember having a conversation with Jeffrey Weir, who's been promoting this idea and submitted this idea, 711 votes. When the measure totals, when it surpassed this one, I remember Jeffrey Weir and we had a little back and forth on about it, just good natured and all that. And I follow him on Twitter and everything. So, all good. But measure-driven data labels. So it's like, oh wow, Jeffrey Weir finally got his idea he's been wanting for all this time, or did he? Let's find out. All right. So, okay, so I got this. I mocked up this little measure-driven data label Power BI file. We're going to cover this, and then we're going to get to all the things that are just god awful about the May update. All right. So I created this little DAX measure, MDDL1, measure driven data label 1, where it basically goes and finds the map. So I get my current value, right? Value. Let's zoom in here. Current value. Then I grab all of my table. I grab the max value using maxxx. I grab the min value using minx. And then I use a switch true. And if the value is equal to the max, I do a woot. And if the value is equal to min value, I do an ack. And then otherwise I do a meh. So, and that works, right? So you can see, here, that's the max value. I get my woot and I get my ack and everything else is meh. And I also coupled that with a color, right? I can do the same thing, set a field value to return these hex codes. And that's why they're different colors, like the green and the yellow and the red. And I realize, yes, that is very non-colorblind friendly. But this is for demo purposes. So I would never release that I would never release meh in a production report anyway. Okay, so I wanted to kind of like explore the limits of this. And so like how much text can we really get in here? So I did some lorem ipsum. So the first so this works as long as, but it puts it all in one long. So I got a full sentence of lorem ipsum in here. And these are random values. So if I would update this to try to, and I experimented, but this was the one, this about an entire sentence of lorem ipsum was what I was able to get in here consistently. Because like if this high value ends up over here, then the data label doesn't display because there's not enough room. Or if it runs into another data label, which is similar height, right, then it doesn't display. And same thing. So okay, I guess you can do a lot with some of that. The interesting thing about this is you see these have numbers in here. So what I did to try to because I was running into where I'd have another data label that would be very close in value, but below this, and it'd be my meh, and then this wouldn't display. So to get around that, right, I that's Lauren. Okay, that's okay. Got these little. Okay, here it is. Full sentences. Da, da, da. For just the same thing. So I returned blank to try to avoid that. But when I returned blank, it reverted to the numeric data labels, which I find odd. So really, and to get here, right, I should probably show you guys this. To get here, visualization format, data labels, and then scroll down, and then values, and then you drag your measure into this field well down here in order to get this, right? But if you return blank from this custom label, then it reverts back to the old data labels, which I find super odd and not what was I not intended and not what I wanted. Um, so I'll go back. I'm going to revisit this one because again, if I update the measure, it's gonna all the data is randomized, so it's all gonna change. So get through this, come back. All right. So lorem ipsum 2. So I said, well, that big long string of text sucks. Can I put some line breaks in there? And the answer is no. So I tried putting in like unicar 13, unicar 10, right? Your carriage return line feed, and now it just returns back with the I don't know what it's trying to do, but unless I screwed something up, but I don't think I did. No, lorem ipsum ampersand unicar. Yeah, and to prove it works, right? I go to this table visualization over here, and there it is, right there. Lorem ipsum amp. Then it does the carriage turn line feed, and then the next line. So that kind of okay. So you can't use carriage return line feed. So I mean, this makes it really hard with the limitations around how much you can put in here. And with the carriage return line, it really limits the storytelling capabilities of this, in my opinion. And then I just briefly saw a post from Brian Julius. I thought maybe I could one up him, and and I created this SVG version. So I pasted that in here, so it's the same thing, and I was just going to do the same shape for everything just to try to get it to work. But no, nothing displays. So again, this is set to an image URL SVG graphic, and it doesn't work. In fact, it's interesting in terms of if I go to here and I go to data, you see here, right here, right here. So enlarge visual or decrease the data label text size. So I think what it's doing is it's again it's treating that entire thing as text. So and there's a lot of text here. So it's saying, oh, it's exceeding the text, size, and so I'm not even gonna try to display it. Not that it would probably display an image URL, even if it was short enough. Probably not. All right, so back to lorem ipsum. So I'm thinking that I can fix this. Let's see. This is the one. So if instead of returning blank, what if I return just that? Do they go? Nope. You got to be kidding me. So in order to get around, wow, really? What? I mean, why? You should have the option to look. It's a custom data label, people. I want it to follow the rules that I specify, not revert back to the data label the numeric value. So let's see if I put in a space, maybe it works then. Okay, now it works. But now I have a space data label, which the whole point of having the blank in there was to try to not run into problems where things would run into each other. But maybe it's working because that's not, in other cases I've seen where I had meh, it would prevent this from displaying in some cases. So anyway, not, so a little caveat there. Okay, so so what is my problem with the May update? Okay, problem with the May update. Click on file. But oh, it eventually shows up. I mean, I have a March and April update, desktop or whatever. I'm telling you, click on file and it's like boom, boom. It's right there. It's right there, right? I mean, I click on this file and I was like clicking on it like 12 times because it's like, where's the file menu? Do do do. I mean, that's a good like 2 seconds before that shows up. That's just unacceptable. I mean, come on, guys. I Get something right here. And then the other thing, okay, so it's even worse. Sometimes even worse. So okay, so I have a brand new Power BI desktop, and I go to File, and it's going to eventually show up. Maybe there it goes. Okay, save. It's eventually going to show up. Maybe there. Oh my god. This is so terrible. I mean, oh my god. So it show so one takes forever to get the file menu to show up, right? Click save. I mean, that took a good 3 to 4 seconds, to show up. I mean, people were like going crazy about like sub-millisecond response time in visuals, and like, oh my god, it's gone over a second. That's god awful. You need to fix that. This is god awful, right? Just that experience alone is just terrible. Now, it used to, this is a brand new feature, right? It's trying to do the locations and everything, but it used to just pop up the file save window, your standard Windows file save window. And you just save it to wherever you wanted to. But now you get these locations. And if you don't, here's the thing, if you don't want any of these locations, like I want to save it somewhere else, uh, uh, then I have to click, instead of having a browse option to bring up the file menu, no, what do I have to do? I have to click more options, wait another who knows how long, and then I can browse for, there's my file menu. Yay! That, so it's going to be like, with all the waiting and everything, it's probably going to be a good 10-15 seconds before you can even get to the point that you can save a file. And that is tragic, in my opinion. So, all right, so to close this out, Jeff Weir, I am glad you got your measure different data labels. I don't know if I would, these seems more preview feature to me than actually fully baked. But it does do what the idea originally said, which was, hey, we just need to call out, some points on the last point on a chart, or the max value, the min value. Again, I mean, there's some major limitations with it. It's some funky ways that it acts in terms of trying to get, these to be blank and things like that. It's like an override. It's not really like there's a fallback to the actual data labels. There's only so much text you can, shove in there. It doesn't support line breaks, carriage returns, doesn't support SVG graphics or image URLs, that sort of thing. It seems more of a preview feature to me, but I'm happy for you, Jeff. I'm sorry that it came out in such a tragic update to the desktop, because it's a cool feature. But this is the worst desktop version I've seen in quite some time. So that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time.